California wants zero carbon emissions. To do that, it has to electrify trucks. But truckers aren't happy. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. California wants to combat climate change, including using more zero-emission vehicles. That means only electric battery-powered vehicles. And it's not just limited to cars. They're also targeting freight trucks. The trucking industry moves over 10 billion tons of freight a year, most of the total tonnage shipped in the U.S. Trucks play an essential role, moving supplies from ports, rail yards, distribution centers, and other places. This affects not only California, but the rest of the U.S. Not to mention, trucks are the third coolest place to get in a fight on top of, behind only trains and Bob Ross's afro. The problem is that trucks, especially heavy-duty ones, emit a lot of emissions. According to the California Air Resources Board, trucks are the largest single source of air pollution from vehicles, responsible for 70% of the smog-causing pollution and 80% of diesel soot, even though they number only 2 million among the 30 million registered vehicles in the state. Of course, the biggest source of air pollution from non-vehicles in California is still talentless hacks butchering songs at karaoke. Move back to Michigan. California is also framing this as a social justice issue because low-income black and brown neighborhoods live near heavy truck traffic. Man, California is so gentrified that even the sky is darker in certain neighborhoods. That's why California Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order pushing for a plan to reduce carbon emissions back in 2020. It called on the Air Resources Board to develop and propose a plan to get 100% of new cars and trucks to be zero emission by 2035, and then make 100% of medium and heavy-duty vehicles in the state to be zero emission by 2045. In December last year, the California Air Resources Board approved a plan to kick out gas and diesel trucks by 2045. While that sounds like far in the future, it's already having an effect right now, and it could have a devastating effect on the U.S. economy. Starting January 1st, 2023, trucks must have a 2010 model year engine or newer to continue entering California ports and rail yards. However, regional air quality boards have declared California's ports off limits to trucks older than 3 years. The regulators say that's necessary to limit emissions from older trucks. Drayage trucks in particular are being targeted. Drayage trucks are often used for transporting cargo at railways and ports. They don't need to go very far, and they have more downtime for fueling, which makes them more feasible for electric trucks that need to be recharged often. So new trucks are going to be moving into these neighborhoods and pushing out the trucks that have been there. This is how gentrification starts. Before long, it's going to be nothing but star trucks in that area. By 2024, all new drayage trucks operating around busy railways and ports must be zero emission. Clean transportation advocates say the new truck mandate is critical, but many truckers are nervous. I'll tell you why after the break. Welcome back. California is pushing ahead with plans to phase out trucks that run on fossil fuels by 2045. They're trying to ease into it, starting with regulations on trucks near railways and ports. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to improve air quality, but there are concerns that California's green energy ambitions are too rushed. Critics say that there isn't enough electric charging capability or even electric grid capacity. As of this recording, there are just 2,000 zero-emission medium and heavy-duty vehicles on California's roads, and nearly all of them are buses. Only 300 are zero-emission commercial trucks, and less than 90 are electric semi-trucks. California's new regulations are trying to add 510,000 carbon-free medium and heavy-duty vehicles by 2035, 1.2 million by 2045, and nearly 1.6 million by 2050. You've heard of going from 0 to 100 real quick? Try going from 0 to 1 million. According to Chris Shimoda, a senior vice president at the California Trucking Association. The state would need to install as many as 800 chargers per week to power the trucks. That's enough to power 118,000 households. So California wants trucking companies to replace all their trucks, but they can't even guarantee they'll be able to run them. As we mentioned in a previous episode, California wants 100% clean electricity across the board, including energy production. But solar and wind alone aren't enough to reliably produce electricity consistently. And California's electric grid isn't in good shape to face increasing demand. If you want to learn more about California's green energy plan, check out the link below. Unless, of course, the device you're watching this on is powered by California Solar and Wind, in which case you might not even be able to see what I'm saying. Even if California could quickly make its electric grid compatible with more electric vehicles, many independent and family-owned truck operators worry that the new regulations would make business unfeasible. After all, new zero-emission vehicles don't come cheap. California admits that it's more expensive, but they're just expecting overall costs to go down over time, which is reassuring. Hey, I know this is going to bankrupt you and ruin your livelihood, but there's a chance it might be affordable in the future, long after you're gone. Don't you feel better? For some reason, many don't see this as feasible, especially for small trucking businesses. Jeff Cox, the owner of a trucking company, Best Drayage, told Cal Matters, "Obviously we all want cleaner air, but this would be catastrophic to the industry. We're operating in an already challenging environment. To add something else that is this drastic would be very harmful." California tries to address the difficulties small trucking companies face by offering programs to finance replacing and upgrading truck fleets. It also suggests applying for low-mileage exemptions, though that doesn't help much since railways and ports have the strictest regulations. Some argue that this isn't enough to offset costs, and some are arguing that they're arguing about the costs. Which is like complaining that someone on a fixed budget doesn't want to buy a brand new house even after you gave them a 10% off coupon. Quit being so cheap. Truckers also point out how they get a lot less mileage per charge and how it takes a lot more time to get full charge compared to filling up on gas. Some models can take hours to fully charge. Even the latest tech still takes up to an hour and a half. Doing multiple charges can eat up a lot of precious time that could be better spent driving, or eating, sleeping, playing parcheesi, basically anything other than waiting around for a truck to hit a 100% charge like it was a giant iPhone in a wall outlet. The president and CEO of the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association warns that charging times of more than 2 hours could cause total disruption of the industry. California tries to address this by focusing on getting drayage trucks to be zero emissions first, since they serve ports and railways. But drayage trucks are also used for long-distance deliveries. I'm starting to notice a pattern. California's attempts to address an issue doesn't actually address the issue. Leave it to Californians to be flaky when making plans. So how would supply chains be affected? According to the president of TGS Logistics, as much as 20% of the current drayage fleet in LA and Long Beach will be blocked from accessing container terminals. Remember all the bottlenecks there were at these ports in the last couple of years? Now add more delays on top of that. Then again, thanks to the high costs California's imposing, they may have less stuff at their ports to deliver. More importers are drifting east to avoid risking shipping delays, which is upsetting California because they're fleeing in gas-powered vehicles. The audacity! Some truckers are leaving too, and it's not just because of California's zero-emission laws. Many protested Assembly Bill 5, the labor law that makes it harder to work as an independent worker. Some left California even before that law took effect. And more are thinking of leaving. One truck driver said, "I don't want to leave California, but I have to because California won't allow me to work the way I want to work." Which is sad. That these drivers are the ones leaving California and not those talentless hacks butchering songs at karaoke. So what do you think about California's regulations? Leave your comments below. And if you like this show, remember that we rely mainly on direct support from viewers like you. All it takes is as little as $1 per episode over on our crowdfunding website, Patreon. Visit patreon.com/America Uncovered for more. Click the link below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.